Most people think the monetary system changed in 2008. Others think it changed in 2020. But what if the real shift is happening right now and markets have not fully processed it yet? When we step back and look through our strategy framework, we are not asking whether something dramatic is happening. We are asking what mechanism is changing beneath the surface. Because large market moves are not driven by headlines. They are driven by liquidity, credit transmission, and funding mechanics. What Brent Johnson is pointing toward is not just another policy tweak. It is a potential shift in how dollar liquidity interacts with global demand for that liquidity. If the reserve system tightens structurally while global debt remains elevated, the pressure does not show up immediately in stock prices. It shows up first in funding markets, in cross-border stress, and eventually in credit spreads. Right now, we would classify the environment as late Phase 1 pressure, potentially drifting toward Phase 2 over the next several quarters. We would assign roughly a 60% probability that Phase 1 melt-up conditions can persist into mid-2026, but with increasing fragility underneath. We would assign a 30% probability that Phase 2 compression accelerates earlier if funding stress appears in auctions, repo markets, or credit spreads. Beyond that, Phase 3 breakdown risk rises into late 2026 if liquidity momentum turns decisively negative. The key mechanism to watch is not just policy rates. It is long-duration yields, term premium behavior, and global dollar demand. If long yields remain elevated, even as growth slows, that rollover trap dynamic increases stress across refinancing channels. That is where sequencing matters more than prediction. Now, if you find this type of mechanism-driven analysis helpful, consider subscribing. The goal here is not noise or forecasts. It is to help you understand how liquidity, credit, and policy sequencing interact so you can interpret markets through structure rather than emotion. From our strategy perspective, confirmation would require deterioration in labor data, widening high-yield spreads, and evidence of weaker Treasury auction demand. Invalidation would require liquidity reacceleration, stable credit spreads, and sustained improvement in market breadth. Midway through any cycle, it is easy to get pulled into conviction. But this is not investment advice. It is an educational framework built around probabilities and phase sequencing. So, the real question is not whether this is the most important development since the end of the gold standard. The real question is whether the plumbing beneath the system is tightening in a way that markets have not yet priced. That is where we keep our focus, not on dramatic claims, but on signal alignment and conditional sequencing.